Hello everyone, my name is Roke here, and we're back. Yes, very epic return, very fanfare, but let's take the briefest moment here and talk about what the hell happened. Where have I been? Why did I abandon everyone? Well, it's a few reasons, but the main one was that I simply wasn't enjoying making content anymore. I felt that I had put out the most useful stuff I could at the time, and after releasing my most recent Zekvir POV, I felt like I had regressed into just putting out a video because I felt I had to. So I had to take a step back and address what I felt I needed to do for myself, and at the time, that was just to put it down and take a break. So now that a few months have passed, I've taken a healthy break from the game, and I have my priorities in order for the foreseeable future. Yes, this might happen again, please don't hate me. I think I am once again ready to bless your feeds with some more top tier content, especially since Season 2 is revealed. I've heard the chatter, I've seen the info dumps, and to say the least, I think Season 2, if anything, is spicing up to be one of the most interesting seasons WoW has seen in a while. So in this video, I just want to do a very brief overview of everything that got revealed, but you can expect deeper dives into each of the main forms of content, namely being raids, dungeons, delves, and more, in separate videos that'll be out after the new year once the PTR cycle begins, and we can actually dive in and start looking at these things proper. For now, though, for the first time in a long time, sit back, grab your snacks, and buckle up, because we're digging into the Undermine. So first off, let's talk about the namesake of the patch, Undermine, with a D, of course. The Undermine has been a long-standing piece of lore legend since the early days of WoW, even appearing on developer and Legends maps early on in the franchise's history. Of course, we can all expect tons and tons of goblins, but what we do know is that we should expect a sort of cosmic twist in the Undermine as they try to tie this all together with Xal'atath, most likely in the form of some world-threatening superweapon that Gallywix is undoubtedly trying to unleash. Undermine brings with it a new zone, of course, but also some additions to the main forms of content. We're getting a brand new 5-man dungeon in the form of Operation Floodgate, which immediately makes its way into the Season 2 dungeon pool, more on that later. And of course we get a new raid in the form of Liberation of Undermine, a new 8-boss raid which appears to be taking some heavy inspiration from some mech tech favorites in the franchise, such as Siegecrafter Blackfuse to note. With a few new delves and even a new arena to follow, there's a lot to look forward to in Season 2, and there may even be some big hints as to what players can get their hands on next as far as playable classes, as I have a theory or two about our ranged tank Brand's Bondsbeard. But more on that for a separate video. So, of course, with all this huge new info, we gotta be excited to get our hands on it. Surely there's a test realm where we can dive into all the goodies, and it got delayed to next year. Okay, so that means at worst it'll be out next week, nothing to fear. There's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of the content itself yet, but we do have some blue posts that give us a good idea of the direction that things are going. So I wanted to dive into a few of those so we can decipher from those what we can expect, and maybe I can share some of my thoughts on it. First off, we gotta mention the big one, and it's the massive changes and controversy surrounding Mythic Plus. First, there were surveys sent out apparently gauging interest on a death system instead of the traditional timer, and man, I don't think they've had a worse idea since they made the jailer have size 12 nipples. Adding a death system and replacing the timer just makes things take infinitely longer, as the best of the best will undoubtedly spend most of their time sitting around for cooldowns in between pulls, and making sure everything is as perfect as it can be, instead of just running the damn dungeon like everyone wants. There is, however, a new change in Season 2, where with a new achievement known as Keystone Legend, you can now prevent all of your keys from dropping below a plus 12 ever. Now, personally, I think this is a huge W on Blizzard's end, and it just incentivizes going against the meta and making groups solely based on maybe what your friends are playing, or what's available in your looking for group pool, and just running the keys you want to run because there's no worry about depleting and wasting your time running back up. This is a very strong system to start off with in terms of fixing the core gameplay of Mythic Plus, and I want to vocalize that in support of it. Now, there is also changes in regards to Crest that I think are pretty huge. Timing a key now scales infinitely better with Crest, with plus 10 seeing you rewarded for 20 Crests for timing it, and 16 for depleting it, meaning that whether you time the key or not, you are rewarded with a full upgrade each and every time. And I think that's just an amazing, healthy change for the system. And it may even help on the side of AFKs or leavers, as they just stomach the pain to get the crest at the end. They've also added the top level of crest to Delve starting at tier 11, so having a solo way to farm out those mythic crests is also a great addition. And albeit slowly, I do think they are making strides towards fixing a lot of the major gameplay issues that most people have with Mythic Plus. Across these three changes, I'm going to give Blizzard a B for bravo, and hope that they keep responding to player feedback adequately. Next up, let's talk about tier sets. While we don't have any official looks at all the classes and specs yet visually, we do know what the set bonuses are, and my sweet Titan gods do they look awful. Listen, I'm not a fan of RNG by any means, and by incorporating it into every single tier set this season, I am just not set up for a good time in my opinion. The cheeky names and the subtext are cute, but just having every tier set based on dice rolls and procs is just painful. And while I'm sure the balance team will definitely get the tuning right on the first try, it just pains me that they couldn't find something more static and locked in, and instead opted for something random and will most likely cause early season frustration, especially things like Race to World First are concerned and the meta as a whole. Visually, we've only seen a few of them, but I think they are nailing the head on the coffin so far. They look great. And aside from a few minor grumbles I have, I think they're some of the best sets we've seen from a while. Hold your breath, hunters, it might still suck. Overall, though, giving Blizzard a D for damn, I guess we're doing this. PvPers get to feel acknowledged for a brief moment as they get a new arena set square in the Undermine. The Cage of Carnage is certainly another arena. Feels like they just forgot about Battlegrounds at this point, and they shove an arena in here once an expansion just to quell the dogs a bit. Of course, it's better to get something rather than nothing, but I do hope PvPers get some wide-scale changes eventually, just to maybe garner more interest and demand for the system as a whole. I haven't really seen anything systematically change for PvP this patch so far, so that's really about it. I'm apparently grading each of these now according to the script, so I'm going to give Blizzard a hearty D for damn, another arena. There's a ton more to talk about, but the one big one that I wanted to talk about is mounts, mounts, mounts. My good God, have you guys seen these mounts? These are some of the most gorgeous mounts I have seen in a while. And in case I haven't mentioned yet, have you seen these mounts? Dinosaurs, birds, mechs, a cigar-smoking Mimiron's head, and I'm sorry, what is this? Drive? What the hell is that? Dynamic ground mounts? Faster than skywriting? Drifting? Okay, so admittedly, I have no idea what this system really is or what the intention behind it is, but seeing ground mounts get an overhaul is definitely something I wasn't expecting, and based on these upgrades and customizations that we've seen, I think it's set to be something that may be a pretty massive foundational change, kind of like dragon riding was when it got introduced in Dragonflight. Kudos to Blizzard for continuing to innovate the mount game. I'm going to give them an A for, I want the T-Rex. That's pretty much all I've seen so far. I'm sure I am missing a ton of stuff, but I'll be breaking it all down as it comes out over the coming weeks on the channel. As far as video cadence goes, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't expect daily uploads or anything, but I do plan to be back for a good while at least, so I could expect videos at least once a week or so. I hope a good chunk of you are still here, and if you are, then thank you so much for watching. It was an honor getting to build this community up, and I hope that I can continue watching it shoot for the stars as we dive into Season 2 and beyond. And as always, thank you for trusting me with your hard-earned time. There's a million YouTubers you could watch this random content from, but you chose to watch this video, and that's pretty damn cool. So until next time, thank you all again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!